Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first podcast episode. This is Mehrdad. This is Amir. We are situated in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I'm Vlad. Mehrdad, why don't you go ahead and start and tell us how you started your business?
All right. So, long story short, I graduated from UBC Kin and decided I didn't want to do med school. I was studying to go to law school. Didn't want to do that. Wasn't feeling it.
Did you have the grades for law school?
Yeah, I had really good grades. Yeah,
Okay.
I graduated top 10 in my class, top 10% in my class, and so it was I had all my ducks in a row, but I just didn't have the passion for it, and so I got a job interview at a commercial brokerage, and the VP was one of my neighbors, so I got a job offer. He told me come by the office, just check it out, see if you like it, just for one day.
Like what? Commercial brokerage?
Yeah, just you like commercial real estate.
Okay.
So I went there, I sat down for the day, talked to a bunch of the execs there, and by the end of it, he's like, "Hey, go get your real estate license, and you're hired." And I was like, "Okay, I'll think about it." They offered me like $50K plus a bonus. I was like, "Yeah." Yeah.
But you're how old? What, 22?
I was 22.
Just fresh out of university.
Yeah,
Right?
23.
22 though, and someone's like, I'm gonna give you $50,000 to you. I mean,
The thing is,
that probably sounded low, but at the time you're like, I have nothing. $50,000.
yeah, but the thing is, I worked full time during university.
and also,
right?
how much is a bonus?
Maybe 10%.
Well, in commercial first year, probably not
Nothing.
making
I
anything.
nothing.
I would come out with
The
55.
thing is, they give you $50K because your first year you don't make any commissions because it takes so long to get clients. Like when Brody worked at Colliers in Toronto, his first year they gave him $50K because he had to get clients,
Yeah.
and then in his second year and third year, that's when he actually made money because deals take so long to go through.
Yeah.
Like even working with Dean, like it takes so long to do a deal.
I mean,
So,
again,
so,
but
so you would have made more.
Sure,
in-
but
in your
I
second
worked
year.
I worked full time, doing my own thing in university. It didn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways, but I love the concept of what they taught me in that one day, which was they took pension funds for big companies and they invested it into commercial spaces. And so that gave me an idea for my parents that, hey, they've lived in a home for over 15 years. It's built a ton of equity. Let's utilize that equity and give them a higher growth trajectory for their investment. So I went to them and I said, hey, that night I pitched them an idea. I said, look, you have a house, you built this equity, you're living in an area that just isn't going to grow that much more.
Which area?
Towards Deep Cove.
Okay.
In North Van. And so I said, look, let's sell your house and let's move you to a better area that has a higher growth trajectory. Right. And so as many know, other parts of North Van, even West Van, they just, there's less of a ceiling effect in the home values. And so they,
Why is that?
they're just more desirable areas.
Some places grow more than other places.
Yeah. They
And-
fluctuate more. Sure.
And that took some convincing for you to do, right? Your
No,
parents, your dad?
really. I was very surprised. I just sat them down that night and they were like, yeah, let's do it. Right. I created a whole pitch to them. And so it worked out and they said, sure, what do you need? And I said, look, your house is worth, I think, this much. I think give me.
It just becomes a real estate agent. I think your house is worth this much.
But no, I kind of, obviously, I've always liked the market and stuff. So I was like, I need $50K to renovate your house and I need 3 weeks. Right. Again, I've never done anything like this before, but I just had an intuition for it. And so they were like, yeah, sure. I was like, okay.
But you knew that you wanted to renovate it yourself from the get-go?
How do you know that you need $50K? Like, how do you know the price of anything at that point?
I just thought that $50K was a number where I calculated what the house needed to
Which is what?
it needed flooring, painting, and some other cosmetic upgrades. It needed that much. I was okay. If I budget roughly about $50K for this project, it's the amount where even worst case, the house doesn't sell. These are things that the house needed, and it'll stick with the home.
Yeah.
Right. So my parents didn't have, so they pulled a line of credit out for me. They gave it to me, and I rented the house. And I was finding
I thought you
rent.
just said I ran out of the house.
To Mexico.
I ran out. I managed the project. I ran out the house, and it was crazy. We were moving out of the house. We were taking stuff out. It was a busy 3
Where'd you
weeks.
live in the time?
My parents rented. I rented an Airbnb for them, but I lived in the home. So literally, all I left in the house was a mattress for myself.
Oh damn.
So I would move the mattress from one corner of the house to the other corner of the house, and I would just crash on it every night, wake up again, and then help all the trades get going. Right.
And then you lived in my place, bro.
That was after.
That was after?
That was after. That's one
That he wouldn't leave.
That's after the house sold, and we were complete on the other house.
You fell in love.
So anyway, so we renovated the house. I interviewed a bunch of realtors, and I found one that I connected with, and after 3 weeks on the dot, we sold the house.
Why'd you interview realtors? Oh, interviewed realtors
to sell our house.
to sell the house. Yeah. Gotcha.
And they came in different evaluations. I knew what the house wanted to sell for, and so finally one of them actually came and pitched me that number, and I was like, okay, you're done.
Yeah,
you're hired. And so once the house went on the market, it sold within 2 days over asking. And everyone told me you're being stupid for selling your house. It was November of 2019. It was a pretty stagnant, slow market.
Yeah.
And our house had like 50, people walking through that first day, which is crazy.
Why do you think it is? I remember
The house showed so well.
I remember the front looked really nice. Yeah. It had great curb appeal.
Yeah.
I remember that.
The house just I knew what helped. So like we added a bunch of accent lighting, stone, veneer stone brick on the outside. Just the house looked really good in photos.
Yeah.
So it just drawed a lot of attention to the house.
Looked very appealing, like from the
Curb
outside.
appeal was a man. Yeah.
So the house sold.
House sold in 2 days, and one of my friends, who was actually my realtor for my first property that I bought, reached out to me. He called me. He congratulated me. He's like, "Hey, congrats on the sale."
Was it Armand?
No. Actually, didn't know Armand back then.
Is this before or after you threw that event with the
Before.
realtors?
Before. So he called me and said, "Hey, congrats on the sale." I was like, "Thanks very much." He's like, "Hey, you should do this as a career path," and it was actually Dalen.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Thank you." And I was like, that kind of struck something in me, and I was like, I didn't even think this is a career thing. Like in my life and in what my parents had instilled in me, it was you go to school and you study and you come out doing exactly what you studied, right? You study science, you go become a doctor. You study engineering, you become an engineer. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I started reaching out to people and just saying, hey, what do you think about this? I asked my realtor and I said, look, I knew we had like literally 50 realtors in this house. I want the list of every realtor that came in, and I want to call them. So he gave me the list, and then I asked them, my follow-up question was, tell me the one, because our house went to multiple offers. So I knew there were 2 or 3 specific people that showed a lot of interest in the home. So I contacted all of them. Honestly, 3/4 just fucking hung up the phone on me, right? They were like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Well, wait, you called them and
I was like, hey, my name is Mehrdad. I'm the son of like this person who renovated, and they're like, okay, like call me after, because it's also end of we're nearing December.
What were you asking them?
Yeah, you were calling them to want to renovate their house.
I wanted to meet for coffee.
The realtor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And okay, side story. Like back then, your business plan was different, though, right?
Yeah. So I didn't want to renovate or build to build. It was, I thought my differentiating factor was to renovate a home to the point where it was strategic and it would sell at the most optimal value.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And I remember when I told everyone, they're like, especially this guy's like, yo, that's the stupidest, most niche market, right? And you're dealing with budgets that are just makes no sense.
Because you're limiting yourself. And how do you know that a house increases in value? How do you know it was supposed to sell at 1 million and now it's going to sell at 1.2, right?
Yeah. But it got the ball rolling. But it's also funny because like in Vancouver, every like 6 months, it feels like the market's different. So 1 month you can do absolutely nothing and sell for an insane amount. Yeah. Versus right now, you kind of have to do a little bit of something to get your house moving. Yeah.
So it was a really, really interesting couple days, actually. Well, about a week. So I started calling, and a bunch of them hung up. There were 2 or 3 realtors that actually spoke with me over the phone. And then one of them didn't answer, which I really wanted to answer. One of them actually is a really big name in West Van, Jason Soprovich. He sat down for coffee with me.
Shouts out, Jason.
We actually grabbed drinks at Lula's once. It was good. It was fun. I met him at Starbucks. I think it was like 6, 7 in the morning, right? I was an early riser. I look up to him, and he sat down with me. Nothing came out of it, but it gave me a little bit more motivation to keep going because I was okay. Someone's actually giving me the time of day, and he has kids my age too, so I think maybe that was part of it. Mm-hmm. So that was done, and then finally, one of the realtors that I really wanted to call, he called me back, and that was everything to me. So his clients got outbid on my parents' home, so they were the ones fighting tooth and nail at the very end. And so he said, "Hey, my clients got outbid on your house, so I've seen the house." I was like, "Okay, great. I'd love to meet for coffee with you. This is something I'm passionate about. This is what I want to do as a career, and I want to get your insight on it." He's like, "Sure." So I met with him for coffee. Again, really early riser, and we sat down. And he said, "Yeah, nice meeting you. You did a really good job. My clients got outbid, but funny enough, they bought a house not too far from here that needs a full reno. It's stuck in the 80s." And I was like, at this point, like bells are ringing in my head, right? But I didn't think anything was going to come to fruition from it. He's like, "Would you like to meet him?" I was like, "Of course, I'd love to," right? So he set up an email introduction. I met with these clients, and what I did going into it, I think, is what sold them on me, which was I cleaned up really well for the meeting, but I found photos because they hadn't taken possession yet. I found photos of the entire listing, and I made an entire project proposal on things that I would recommend renovating. Mm-hmm. So I gave them a budget for it, and I was itemized. I was like, the kitchen, the flooring, the painting. I would change the windows here.
This is on the first meeting.
I went in with a proposal, right? Nice. Like I would recommend removing this wall and that wall, add pot lights, whatever. And again, at this point, I don't really know anything, right? But I just kind of roughly know costs because I did so much intensive research.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like, if you're taking a leap, especially where no one should really trust you. You renovated one house. No one
should have trusted me.
You renovated one house. That was your parents' house, and obviously, if you screw that up, well, they still love you. They're your parents. Yeah. But if you want to optimize an opportunity, then show up as prepared as possible. Like, don't even have all your ducks in a row, and don't have any slight chance where you might not get something or not optimize, I guess, the opportunity. Because if you come prepared, you can full itemized list. That's sweet.
Everything. And then I had even printed out a before and after photo, like the best one, the front view of my parents' home. So I just went in with full force. There was no room for any questions to be asked of my professionalism. Yeah. Right. And they loved it. And, funny enough, they didn't really question my lack of experience. They just said, "Hey, to be honest, we loved what you did with your parents' home. We were upset that we couldn't get it, but we want you, ideally, if you want to emulate what you did for your parents' home for our home." And again, at this point, I'm still a kid. Like, I don't know why, but this is all happening so quickly that I just couldn't imagine it. So a couple weeks go by. They're like, "Hey, we finally got a date to go view the home. We're bringing like 4 other contractors in. Come by and bid on the project." So I went there and I invited like 10 trades, random trades, right? A couple that I knew.
How did you find these trades? Yeah.
A couple of them worked at my parents' place. A couple other ones that had referred me from those people. And anyway, we get there.
Do they still work for us?
No.
No, none of them?
None of them. And again, that's just part of growing in experience and stuff, right? But anyways, we get there, and I remember like nowadays I don't take like 10 trades. But I go by myself, maybe one specific trade if that is particular to that one project that I think. But beyond that, I'll go in.
Well, tomorrow we have a big trade walkthrough.
But that's because the project's already leading to being signed. Like, we're doing like a final quote now on it, right?
Gotcha.
So I've already given an approximation on the cost. I get there and I'm stressing, right? Because everyone's so professional, and my trades are just like
so
just walking around. So like my trades are just walking around wherever they can. I can't control like 10 people. I'm sweating bullets. I'm in the corner just trying to like make myself just like recoup myself. And
I remember you called me after.
I came out of the car and I called them, and what did I say?
Yeah, you were like, it was like a zoo, man. Like, I invited way too many people. Yeah.
I was like, I fucked up. Like, I had it in the bag, and I fucked up.
But that's kind of like, you didn't know at the time, but that's kind of normal for a trade walkthrough, somewhat. For people to be like, okay, here we are. I'm a drywaller. I'm going to walk around.
You've seen my trade walkthroughs.
No. But it's not unusual for people to just walk around the house.
Bro, and look, there are trades and there are trades. Some of them are, man, like
some are
not
rough.
wall dressed, very rough
yeah.
on the edges. Can't talk that.
Yeah.
Like it's you have different levels, right?
You gotta supervise.
We've picked through the bunch of them. We have good ones that are pretty good with the clients as well, and they're show them to the clients. But yeah,
like
I don't
yourself.
know back then.
So yeah, I called him. I was like, yo, I shot. Like, it's done. Like, I completely and utterly fucked up. Anyways, a few days go by, and the clients are like, hey, can you send us your quote by next week? Everyone's going to send it.
Did they say anything about the amount of people that you had there? Like, what you were stressing about the most, did they say anything about that?
No, but I just saw a couple of my trades talking to the clients, and I was like, yo, like they're busy, like they're doing other things, like don't waste their time right now, right? It just didn't feel well. Like I don't mind, like you can talk to them on any other day, but like right now we were here for a job and we only have like a half-hour window that the other realtor's given us. Maximize it. Anyways, I leave it. I'm like, fuck it, whatever. They call me like, hey, give us a quote by next time. I was like, yeah. Like I was shocked they even got back to me.
By the way, just one question: did the other contractors also bring their own trades, or
I think one of them brought me one. The other one was like came with one, and they came by myself. Like they're just professional, whatever.
Well, I was there.
Okay, so yeah, you were.
Oh, you were there.
Team.
Yeah, I was there. I was part of a. This is a little side story, but when I had the project, I went to that same job walkthrough, but I went part of a different contractor. Did you call him? Did you call Alex?
Alex was quoting for me.
Gotcha. Okay, so
I didn't know you back then.
yeah. So I came as part of this walkthrough. I was one of those monkey trades that would just walk around the whole house.
Yeah,
I was walking around everywhere. I was like,
just paint.
Well, because I'm painting, I just need to look at the walls everywhere, and that's it. And then I'm out. And I took photos of the house, right? And I didn't know Mehrdad at the time. I took photos of the house, and on my Google Drive, there's still a photo that I took, and Mehrdad's in the background sweating. He's like,
you can see the
stressed out. He's like frozen, like picture frame frozen, stressed out. And then I quoted that job with a different contractor that I guess was going to sub it out to me, and then you were subbing out. It was a big ordeal.
You inflated your price by like,
yeah.
Like 40%.
Don't do that. Yeah. So yeah, and then I met Mehrdad like 6 months later.
Yeah.
And then we found out that we were on the same
crazy
walkthrough. Like when I came to help him out at the end of the job, because his painter left, so I could come and just like helped him with a few small things. And I was like, when I saw the address, I was like, oh, I've been here. Like I quoted this job a long time ago. Anyways.
But yeah, anyway, so I quoted the project and came to it. I sent a proposal that was very, very aggressively priced. Like I knew that my margin was so low, but I was like, hey, I have no experience. And my whole pitch was that I have no other projects. I have no other clients.
Let me just get this.
But I told the client, like, you are my sole focus.
I have no life. I have no friends. I have no girlfriend. This is my only purpose in life.
On the side note, the client actually, one part of my pitch was that, hey, like, honestly, you can ask me anything you want. And then she was like, it sounds weird now, but it was just trying to be funny. It was like, she was like, do you have a girlfriend? Because I said, you have my sole attention, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, do you have a girlfriend? And I was like, no.
What year was this?
This was 2019. This was December
2019.
2019. Pre-pandemic. Yeah, that was a huge jump. But anyway, so I quoted the project, and it was really well priced. And I remember I was at Starbucks for some reason. I got a phone call, and they were like, "Hey, I'm sorry, but we're going with someone else."
How much was it?
I can't remember. Maybe like 120K.
Holy shit! For the whole thing? Oh my god!
Yeah. I think around that. Yeah.
Okay.
And anyways, so that, and I was like, okay, but this is where my sale. I was like, hey, with all due respect, I am sorry to hear that, but can I get the other person's quote, because I know for a fact, like, there has to be something wrong, because the guy was like, oh, your price was actually very close to the other guy's price, and I was like, that's like, it's impossible, right? So he emailed me the other person's quote that like I was the top 2 contenders, and I reviewed it, and then instantly I was finding this, and this, and I was like, okay, right off the bat, I included a whole kitchen. The other guy hadn't even included the kitchen. So I knew, okay, this guy literally just went to the bottom number and just saw the prices and was like, okay, cheaper, done, or this price. And so I called him and I was like, hey, I'm going to requote. I'm going to just let you know, like, I've included like 30 other things that no one else has included in these prices. So right off the bat, the kitchen was gone. That was like 35 grand just tossed from the quote. Right there, I won the bid right there. There's a few other components that I compared and contrasted. So I think I came down another like 40, 50K. And then he was like, okay, let us review it again. A couple of days later, I get a phone call and he's like, hey, we'd love to work with you. And I'm ecstatic, right? Just beyond ecstatic. And I remember we went to Whistler, remember?
Which one?
Before like the whole pandemic thing. Right
we went to Whistler.
With all the guys to Momo's house.
That was mid-pandemic, bro.
I don't know. So all this time went by, right?
Yeah.
So they told me you're gonna get it or whatever. But anyway, but before that, they gave me a $5,000 deposit, which now I think like that's nothing for a budget that size. But whatever. I took it, I framed it, right, and that was the start of my career.
I thought you had started the project by the time we went to Whistler.
No, you're right. I hadn't started it, but pandemic hit and we stopped. So we were going to do the project before they moved in. Pandemic hit, and then they were like, shit, like we can't, leave. And that's a whole different story.
Yeah, it was scary at the you couldn't have trades in the house. It was
That's a whole
different. You
different
come like 2 people at a time.
Yeah.
In the house,
But like blah blah blah, like all that aside, project went well. Through social media, that kind of grew from it. But that's how I started, and social media kind of bootstrapped my business.
Project went well.
Project went really well. Like,
okay, wait. It went. The house didn't burn down. You didn't flood anything.
My timeline,
but I remember you were stressed.
Of course, I was there every single day, 3-4 times a day.
Yeah, I know.
I was cleaning up that site solely myself twice a day. Yeah. Morning, I would wake up in the morning at 7 a.m. I would go clean the site before the guys came, and I'd go back in at like 7 o'clock at night and clean up the site again myself. Yeah,
no, very, very good. Right. I just remember there was this one thing where you had like a new trade. I think he was installing cabinets.
Oh, I don't want to talk about
that. Let's talk about it. He was installing cabinets, right? And he was supposed to.
It was the primary bedroom.
The primary bedroom closet. It's face front when you walk in. It's nice cabinets. And he drilled the handle holes on the wrong side of the door.
Both sides.
Yeah. Oh, he drilled both sides.
Yeah. So the door that opened this way, he drilled it there, and then also
on the hinge side, he drilled it on.
He drilled the cabinets on the drill side.
So, I think he got fixed. But he left the house. He's like, I'm so sorry. And he just left the house. Dipped.
You missed the whole point of the story.
What do you mean?
Bro, this guy calls me. I don't know. This guy, by the way, is a sub for another sub, right? And he does carpentry. And so I was looking for a carpenter. And he's like, hey, I'm looking for some extra cash. I can build this for you. And I was like, okay.
Is this the same guy that installed the TV at my place?
No. I don't like this story. But he called me, and all I hear is, Mehrdad, I fucked up. Mehrdad, I fucked up. And I'm like, what did you do? Like, it can't be that bad, right? And he's like, I can't. I'm so sorry. I'm done. I'm the stupidest idiot. I'm going to kill myself.
Oh, I remember you called the police.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm literally going to kill myself. And he just hung up the phone. And I was like, fuck me. Like, I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have someone's life on my hands here.
Yeah.
So, I called the cops. And I had photos of the house, and I remember I had his license plate. So the license plate, his name, everything I sent to the cops. And
was he like, dude, why'd you call the cops? I'm not actually going to
He was actually choked at me. He's like, now I'm like on a list for watch or whatever. I'm like, yo, I don't know. You can't make that kind of joke or comment or claim. Like, it's like, no. I remember the cops came. And imagine, this is a nice residential area, cul-de-sac, families. I went door to door, knocking everyone's door. I was like, hey, this, because they saw like 3 cop cars outside the house, right? I went door to door. I told everyone what happened. I was like, hey, these people, whatever. And I told the clients about it before they found out from someone else, just to keep ahead of it. Yeah, there were a lot of hurdles, a ton of learning experiences, but it made the company and me where I am today.
And Mehrdad wanted to quit, but I
Yeah.
told him,
So the last, yeah, my painter absolutely screwed me over at the time.
Not me.
Not you. And the night he took the entire payment from me, and he's like, I need the next like $3-4 grand, or I'm leaving. I was like,
Oh, extra on top of what you
his agreed upon, but I didn't know, like, you know what I mean, like, it's like I need it. And I was like, okay, I was like, hey, wait there 10 minutes, I'll be there and we can talk about it. He's like, no, I'm gonna leave. I was like, I pulled on the side of the road and I e-transferred him, right? Stupid.
Wait, the work wasn't done.
No, he was threatening me to leave and not finish, and he knew I was in a corner because the project had to be delivered by tomorrow, and he couldn't deliver to that timeline. We had shit ton of time, and wow, he just left, and I get there and there's a ton of painting left, right? And I'm panicking.
He still left.
He left.
He left.
He completely screwed me over and left.
I had a trade the other day. A sub. He wanted. He finished the project, right? He finished the project. Sends me photos. He's like, "Done. Can you send money now?" I'm like, "No, I haven't even been there." Of course, now with the amount of experience that I have, I'm not gonna pay until I go. I check it out. We do deficiencies, everything, all that stuff. So then when I get there, like a day later, I look and like, not good. You know, like.
Even what was done wasn't.
Yeah. Like, just not good. Like, painting was horrible. So I had them come back, fix everything. Had to come back twice because it just wasn't done properly another time. Because I wanted to make sure it looked good, obviously. So, and then after that, I paid him. Okay, let's go. It's good. But yeah, we went for dinner.
So when that painter left, I was stressing out the house. I had so many things that I was doing back then, right? I was installing all the appliance handles. I had to peel off all the protective covering off the cabinets, right? I had to just clean up the house before put everything in the bin before the cleaners came the next day. Smoke detectors were still left because the inspector added them to the scope at the last minute on our final building inspection. All that, and then I'm freaking out because paint's not done. And paint is honestly subtle, but one of the most important parts of a project.
Because it's finishings.
Finishings, exactly. That last 5% is the most
Part
important.
that you see, yeah.
Exactly. So remember, I didn't know Vlad, and I called him. I didn't know what else to do. I called him and was like, "Yo, I need your help." And this is like at 8-9 o'clock at night.
No. You called me during the day at like 2-3 p.m. Okay. I'm in a Starbucks working, and I was doing some like admin work, and I'm like, "Oh, this guy's calling me."
Oh, you knew Mehrdad.
I'm like, barely, yeah. And I know what it feels like to be in a panic. Like when you have a deadline that's like approaching, and it's not going to stop approaching because time moves forward, and then you need help immediately or else you're screwed. And he calls and he's like, "Hey, like, how are you? Whatever. I need your help. I have a project tomorrow, whatever, all stuff." And I'm just like, "Oh, you need help now, hey? Looks like you didn't hire the right guy for the job." I don't know, whatever.
You didn't say that.
I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. And then I went there. It was just a few things that you wanted to help with.
A few things that were really in your eye.
Yeah.
I remember like the white risers for the stairs. I wanted those to be perfect because the LED lights would hit them. The fireplace was scratched up, and I wanted that to be painted.
Was that the first time you guys actually talked?
No, briefly we had interacted. That was actually the first time we spent more than 2 minutes together.
Yeah.
What, you guys knew each other through?
No, but he came and bid on something else that I was just doing for a family member.
Yeah,
and I didn't we didn't work together and whatever. But anyways, that's my story. So through social media, kind of grew from there, and then there's much more I can talk about. But that's how I started.
Wait, but we want to talk about
what happened to the painting. Yeah.
Okay, so how I quit was I didn't quit, but I was so stressed, and I was like, you know what, like I can't, like this is you're dealing with not only a ton of people but different characters.
Yeah.
Everyone has their, and this is why I tell clients like I want to work my own trades, because everyone's different, and you need to know how people operate to maximize their potential and skill, and like down to their coffee order. If I know what type of coffee that person likes, what kind of pizza toppings that guy likes, I can motivate them. And if I can't have that kind of information, I'm just at their disposal. You show up or you don't show up. There's no way for me to. And projects, as you know,
you have to treat people with respect.
Of course, utmost respect. And if I don't know how to serve them, I can't please them, and I can't make them show me their best work.
That's so true. Yeah.
So I remember, I wanted to pay you back. So I took you for dinner, and we talked about just everything. And you've been doing this for I think about a year before me.
A year, but I had just finished. I had my first stressful summer, like I think a year before that. Yeah, and I was like, I totally knew where you were coming from, but I'm like, just push through it. Like
you're like, because we were nearing the new year now.
You build on stresses, so if you achieve a certain level of stress, you can now handle everything under that with ease, and then
You're not triggered by it
each
anymore.
level of stress, you build a new level of
Tolerance.
A new level of tolerance and success too. So.
You know all about tolerance now. But
Is he stressing?
There were a couple of projects he was stressing about, but he pulled through like a champ.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so
Tell me about it.
He sat me down and he was like, this is what I do. This is how I overcome it. And look, it will get easier. This is literally your first project, and most people's first projects is like a dinky bathroom. Yeah. And yours was a full-on home in a really nice area.
You have a great foundation to stand on.
Because I did everything. I did every part of a home on my first project. So I learned everything in a very quick
You did
manner.
bathrooms too there?
I did, yeah. We had 3 bathrooms.
Oh, wow.
Did you get
Structural work, engineers, everything.
Did you get the payment back from the painter that left?
No.
You think he's going
That
to
was
get the money
a
back?
huge... I had to
He's
burn
gonna
through
get
some
that money
cash,
back?
but whatever. Like that's part of the growing
So
pains,
you just
right?
took the money and just left?
I then that's a whole different thing. I can literally talk about that guy for hours. But
Is he still in business?
Probably,
unfortunately.
yeah.
But let's just say I called every person that works with them and I told them what happened.
Okay.
Especially his biggest client that he was bragging about, which is why, like a construction company
remember.
that I look up to, especially like they're leaps and leaps bigger than I am, and I called the owner and I just told them very nice, respectful. I was like, hey, just letting you know, this guy is using your company name and to land other projects, which I know you do amazing work and I look up to you. Just letting you know, he completely.
Did he even work for them? Did he
Yeah,
actually
he
work
did.
for them?
He did. And his experience wasn't like that with him.
Yeah.
But he just said, I appreciate you letting me know. And very soon after that, the painter actually called my clients and with some arguments came back and wrapped it up.
Oh, he came back?
He came back, right?
Okay.
But it took me to get him to that level to get him back. But
Yeah.
But Vlad, did you do some painting in that site?
No.
No?
I the fireplace, I think I spray painted it black.
that and the staircase.
The sterilizers,
and some
yeah.
other little touch-ups here and there.
Okay.
Just things that were like you know what I mean? Like there's always deficiencies, but like there's some areas that you want your first grand reveal to really showcase, and those are things that
I did what I could for like 2 hours because I think I was there from like 6 to 8, and
my cousin came and helped me like
yeah,
Oh, you went the same day.
yeah, dude.
the night before. I was showing the house the next day.
The site was like, well, it wasn't done. Like it just didn't look done, right? Like there's like ram board everywhere, boxes, like just everything, and I'm like, oh, like when are you supposed to finish? He's like, I'm giving the keys at like 8 a.m. tomorrow.
It was like 6 p.m. the next day.
6 p.m. I'm like, tomorrow? I'm like, dude, you're not gonna finish.
We pulled through.
Almost like just like I was about
Laughed
to
and
be like,
laughed.
yeah, like I almost laughed, like, oh, you want me to? No.
Were you hands-on back then? Yourself?
Yeah, I was like 50-50 hands.
50-50?
Like, for me to get on the tools at that time.
It was not a slap in the face by that time. Like,
No.
I would never.
It wasn't a stretch. It was like, yeah, I'd do that. Because when COVID first hit, I had fired all my subs because I wanted to hire new ones, and then there was no work for like March, April, May. So if I got like an apartment, I'd just do it myself, spend the whole week there.
Yeah, but anyways, you motivated me to stick with it, and honestly, the best decision I've ever made. So,
did you end up making money on that project?
a little bit, maybe.
A little bit.
I mean, it depends how you consider making money, or if your time and your.
You made money after with the other
If-
projects
if-
that you got. That's why you have the company,
course.
right?
It's like an investment. It's like
Think about it. Also, who gives like
22-year-old or
23
23-year-old.
23
a
or
full
whatever,
house.
a full house, your entire that project, set the precedent for what my values are. You're giving me the biggest asset of your home. You're giving me your financial investments. I'm going to deal with it with the utmost respect and pride. Like, I completely can put myself where you are right now in your shoes, and I understand, and I want to make sure that you feel heard, valued, respected, not only you as an individual, but how you're spending your money.
Yeah.
And I will always tell clients if I have an opinion, I'm like, hey, don't spend the money. I have someone else that can do it, or I have another alternative solution that can save you money. Yeah. I don't care if I can.
Don't even do it sometimes.
There's
say
so many
that
times I'll just turn down the project. I'm like, you know what? You can find someone cheaper who can do this, and that's what your project needs, is not someone whatever, for whatever reason. But I'm not just going to glorify it. Really, you know what I mean? Like, I think real estate has that in its industry, the professionalism, like even how you dress for a project.
Yeah.
A realtor selling a $200,000 house dresses just as well selling a $20 million house. And I really tried to emulate that into construction, where that's a huge lack, I think.
Yeah, and that doesn't exist in construction. Like, it exists,
but
but not a lot. Like, I would say, like, it's super archaic, right? And most of a lot of older generations,
because they've been able to get away with it.
Yeah,
Why improve for someone that doesn't need to?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know,
that's his
mentality.
Yeah, very archaic. Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Continue.
No, that's it. That's my story, right?
I was gonna say. Even if you lost money on the first project, let's say you lost like, I don't know, $5-10 grand, right? You basically pay into like an education. Like, that was like a crash course on construction, business, renovating. So like, instead of, spending a year at school, you really just condense that. You paid for a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Really. And that's a lot of mistakes that are ever made. Like, my mistakes, I always just think, well, I learned a lot more with the outcome.
And you'll make more on the next one because of it.
Yeah.
But shout out to those clients. I always tell them they changed my life.
Yeah.
Gary Volk, that realtor who sat down with me and introduced me, he changed my life. And my clients, that first house, changed my life in every imaginable way. They created who I am today. And I'm forever grateful for them because of it. Crazy. So
I think that was a great intro to yourself.
So you, Rescom.
How long have we?
38. Second episode, we can just do me.
If you want.
Yeah.
Oh, we could just keep going.
Keep going. How much time do I have? 1 o'clock? I have another half hour.
Yeah, mine wouldn't be that long.
So I met my friend Mehrdad.
So you own Rescom Drywall and Painting, right? And you started the business now 3 years ago.
Technically, like, longer. So I first started it with a friend of mine that I worked with. Because
give it back. Like, you first the painting.
So you went to BCIT.
Okay, yeah. I'll go way back. I'll go way back. Okay. Oh yeah. By the way, I love how you said, long story short, and then you proceeded to talk for 38 minutes.
Yeah, 38 minutes. Yeah.
Well, you guys kept asking about different parts.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I'm just fucking with you. So when I was in high school, I was the first door-to-door salesperson for someone that started a painting company, and they were doing just residential exterior painting at the time.
I hate those. They open. You need any exterior painting? No, bitch. Shut the door.
I wonder if I remember the pitch. Hi, I'm Vlad with. It was called Pure Lux Painting. Hi, I'm Vlad with Pure Lux Painting. We're walking around that area giving free quotes for. Free quotes for painting. Can I book you in? And then they'll be like, yeah, sure. Like, they'll be like, oh, can you do this? And they'll start showing me things. But I'm just like a 15-year-old kid or like 16. I'm just like.
But you're tall and you don't need a ladder. So just paint
tall.
that corner for me.
Yeah, they're just like, I want to do this to my house. I'm okay. Like, I'll have my boss come, whatever. So I would do that. And then I would email him at the end of the day being like, hey, these are the leads. Call them, whatever. And then we ended up hiring someone else. So it was me and another guy. And then I started to get like pretty ambitious with this guy. By the way, his name is Evan. I was like, Evan, like, if we hire like 2 more people, I can manage them for you, right? Like, just pay me like a little more. I think I was getting paid. We're figuring out what's the best way to pay me, right? It was like $15 an hour at the time, which back then,
With commission or no?
yeah, it would have been like 2% of the revenue, yeah. And then $15 back then was pretty good because I think minimum wage is like $10.25. So
I remember it.
So I did door to door. We hired some other people that I like quote unquote managed, and then we went and then I would offer him areas that I think are better, and he's like, okay, let's like try it out. That didn't work, and then I worked with him on and off for a few years, painting a little bit, more door to door, all this stuff, and his company grew pretty quick. And then I went to BCIT, and then while in BCIT, I actually tried starting a company called Camland, which was like backyard offices. A tiny house. Because back then, tiny homes were like coming up. It was like 2016.
It was all over HGTV and everything.
Yeah,
it was all over social media back then.
Yeah. They were huge. And so I would actually go door to door in Port Moody on Ioko Road. And I had these flyers, which I still have some at my parents' house, but I had a friend of mine like help me design the flyers, and she worked
before or after you built your first one for yourself?
Before. So she made the flyer, and then she went to BCIT for interior design. Shouts out Miriam, and you actually met her. I'll tell you later. She designed what this tiny house or backyard office would look like. So I had like on the front a description of what the company is, and then on the back there's this like step-by-step thing where it's like, first, choose your purpose. Second, choose your interior finishings. Third, choose your exterior finishings. And then like, do you want add-ons like security, tech, a fireplace? Do you want this, whatever? It's actually really, really well thought out.
So it's like a smaller like laneway detached.
It's like
It was-
200 square foot?
It was purposed to be like 120 square feet, like literally just a bedroom.
Is that the legal amount for having something in your backyard?
So that's a funny story. Someone told me like, oh yeah, like, so when I actually came to build my first tiny house, because I went to Vancouver General Contractors, right? Because I was like, I need someone to build this for me, and I go there into their office, and I'm like 18, like 19. I'm like, hey,
looks 42 though.
I wanna build a backyard office for my business. Do you guys think this is a good idea? And this project manager like sat me down. He's like, listen, you shouldn't build it through us. Like, we're gonna charge you so much for this little project. Like, yeah.
Vlad, sorry, was this for a client or was this for yourself?
Just for myself.
For yourself.
In that same meeting, he was like, you should build it for yourself, right? And then build the second one for a client, third one, and just start like figuring out what the best way is to build it. And I was like, okay, sure. So then I went to Dick's Lumber, and I was like, hey, I want to. You know,
how much did you think? Were you expecting it would cost?
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh how much I thought.
Probably back then was cheaper.
But sure, back then.
But the price I'm
Back
gonna tell
How
you.
much do you think?
I thought it was gonna be 10 grand.
I knew he was gonna say that number.
10 grand. And
Every client's number for anything is 10 grand in their head.
But did the contractor say
He
any
didn't
builders?
Give me anything. He didn't give me any price.
Right now,
we didn't
that
get
would be.
to that. We didn't get to that.
right now, my guess is someone's gonna try. If you want it, like
Yeah,
actually utilize everything, yeah, probably close to 50.
I forget how much I
Back
paid.
then, I wouldn't be surprised if you do it for like 25, 30K.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Right.
Anyway, so I went to Dick's Lumber, and I was like, hey, I want to build this. How much wood do I need? The guy's like, I don't know. Like, drawings. I'm like, well, it's like 10 by 12, and it looks like this. Like, how much wood do I need? He's like, what's the roof like? I don't know, like slanted, like a cool, like modern slanted roof. He's like, okay. He like draws out like studs, like how many studs per wall. He's like, you need this many 2x4s, this much plywood, this much this.
You had nothing, no nothing. Like
I had like a designed drawing, but it didn't have specs.
oh, okay.
It was just a pretty photo, right?
Okay.
I was like, I want it to like
So you
that.
couldn't tell if it was 30 by 30 or a 10 by 10. You had no inference on dimensions.
I had
on
10
the
by
drawing.
12.
No,
No.
Yeah.
So we figured that out. And then the timeline's kind of confusing a little bit, but I think I bought all the wood, so I spent like $1,500 on the wood.
Whose money?
Parents, shouts out parents, because I was 18, I didn't have any money saved up. So my dad actually like he lent me the money. I like thinking back now because one, he wants to support any kind of business endeavor because I guess he wants to invest into his kids, and then secondly, maybe he thought it was actually gonna be something. Who knows? But I think it was mostly the first one, just not shut down any ideas to keep like the entrepreneurial drive and hunger going. So anyways, bought the lumber, and shouts out Devin. Devin actually went with me to the lumber store.
This truck?
No, back then he didn't have a truck. He had no car. I used my dad's Lexus with a trailer attached to it. So it was like an old like trailer, and we put all the wood in there, and then we bought all the doors and all the windows from Surrey New and Used, and we spent like the whole day like in the rain, like driving back and forth from like different places. That was an effort. Anyways, bought all the wood, and I'm like, okay, now I have to hire someone to build this thing for me. So, I hired a guy off Craigslist who was a carpenter. He wanted $25 an hour, so $200 a day.
And a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, he did smoke a lot. But I interviewed him at a Starbucks as if I knew what to ask, right? I'm like 19, 20.
He's on Craigslist?
Yeah, and I interviewed him, and I was like, I want to build this. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, like we can do it, right? We kind of like discussed it. He started like a week later.
His name was Ted. Ted Bundy.
I don't remember his name actually. But so the first day that we started, we built like the foundation. Yeah. And which was all pressure treated, but I remember like I was helping him like I was cutting and he was like doing everything. And then I remember my friend called me. This is in the summertime. It was like August. My friend calls me. He's like, "Hey, like let's go hang out, Brody." He's like, "Let's go to the beach, like whatever." I was like, "Dude, like I have to help this guy like build this thing." He's like, "But you hired him for him to build it." I was like, "Yeah, but like I should still be here and know like what the hell's going on." Anyways, he builds most of it. He flakes halfway through. I guess because he realized there wasn't enough money for him. $25 an hour. This is back in like 20. Oh my god, it's like 2015. Jeez. Yeah, it's 2015, 2016, and realized there wasn't enough money, I guess. And then over the course of a year, like this place slowly came to fruition. Drywall and painting I did myself, flooring I did myself, put the baseboards in myself. Drywall, me and my dad hung up. We tried the taping first time. Terrible. It was like the worst mudding job ever. We had a family friend come that was in the industry. He was like, "This is horrible." He's like, anyways, it was bad. Hired someone else. They did it. This is pre-Rescom. And then when I started Rescom, fuck, I can go on for the next hour. Like I have like.
Wait,
What happened to us? Did you?
I see the house. It looks really nice, right? But that business didn't go to fruition.
It didn't go to fruition.
Did you have any clients?
When I started it, I was like, "This is cool. I want to do it," but I didn't have a marketing plan in mind. Like I didn't know how I was gonna pitch it, how I was gonna sell it. So that was my number one mistake. I kept going with the idea when I didn't have a market for it in mind.
And it wasn't just you. I know a lot of other people that have tried that business.
Yeah.
Even in the States.
It's very trendy.
Yeah, there was a big one in North Van, West Coast Outbuildings. That's what it was. And I went there once as like a potential client because I wanted to scope out how they were doing it. And he looks at me. He's like, "Are you Camland? I'm like, yeah." Even though I had like a Facebook page and like didn't have an Instagram. Yeah. I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, I'll show you everything." Right? Walks me around his like, well, because he knows I'm not a legitimate
no
competitor,
threat.
right? Yeah. Well, this 18, 19-year-old kid. So he shows me everything. It's like my fixed cost every single month are $30,000 for this warehouse because he builds them in a warehouse and then they drive them out to places. But that company went under. Like they had to move from North Van to Squamish because it was too expensive there, and now I haven't heard anything about them. Anyways,
So that business didn't go well.
didn't go
Then
well.
you went to BCIT.
Went to BCIT.
business.
I got a full-time job for 2 years, doing sales,
Sales again, yeah.
outbound sales for construction
I think
company.
that's the common theme for both of us, at least.
Common denominator.
Denominator is that we both enjoy the sales part of it, right?
Yeah,
That's the part that you do now.
I
You do management and so obviously.
I enjoy
But
it.
you're a sales. But at the end of the day, you're a sales
Of
company.
course,
you have to sell.
Yeah. But I enjoy meeting clients.
Of
I
course.
I
That's
enjoy
part of
qualified
sales.
leads. I enjoy
Yeah.
qualified leads. I don't want to go through 1,000 phone numbers. Anyways, so I went to BCIT, worked in outbound sales, and I contacted Evan again after years. I was like, hey, like, how's it going? Like, how's business? He's like, I met up with him. He was in an office. Business was booming for him, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I stuck with my job for like a year and a half, and I kind of felt like stagnant. Like I was 20. Yeah, I got that job when I was 20 to 22. I was making $65K a year, plus for a 20-year-old. That feels like a lot. Yeah.
Back then too, right?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, like I want to move up now. Like, what's the next step, right? I want to make 6 figures, or I want to make more money. And I went through like interviews with the CEOs of the company that I worked for, and they're like, we love you, whatever, all this stuff is great. Our company's growing. We're buying a bunch of stuff. However, like, where do you fit in here? And I was like, okay, well, this is what I like doing. I like doing this. I wanted to do like project management, but or like be like an operations manager, but there was just no room for that. And the people in line for those positions have been in the company for like a while, right? So I was like, okay, I really saw no future there. So I was like, I want to start a business. Let me start a painting company because it's all that I know. It's like zero startup basically. So I started that with my friend that I worked with at the time at my job. A lot of notifications, popular guy. With a friend that I had, and we had a few projects in the summertime. I can go into depth about those later. And then when I saw like that I had been at this job for 2 years and there was no like future opportunities that were near me, and when I went like on Indeed to look for other jobs, everything else was like not up to my standards of what I wanted.
That's a huge part too. I think going into any business is looking at the industry, like you said, it's archaic or whatever, but finding the pockets where improvement can be made, right? And you try to resolve those issues as you've done.
Yeah, so I saw there was nothing to do, and I was like, I might as
Nothing
well
that
just-
you liked, and it would be
Yeah,
worth
where the
your
pay
time
would be
and
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I'd just be stepping back.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is August, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just quit my job, and I'll do this painting company full time. And then I think I got a lot of weird looks from people because they were like, dude, like you were, like I was driving a brand new car that like I leased. I was like I spent a lot of money. I pretty much spent everything that I had. I was stupid. I didn't save enough, right?
And Vlad, did you have any hands-on painting experience yourself?
I did, yeah. Because
Okay.
I worked for Evan, and in the summer times I was.
Oh, you actually
Yeah.
were hands-on yourself too.
Yeah. But I wasn't.
But you understood staying paint, primer, to some extent, more than the average.
Yeah. Yeah,
person.
sure, more than the average person, but still had to learn a lot, right? And then when I quit my job, I had a project lined up already, and so I was like, okay, this is gonna feed me for a few months. But so I had to give my car away. So my brand new car was gone. Ouch, that was tough. And then I got a van. Ouch. So I was single at the time too. So like if I went on dates, I had to drive this van.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Imagine, bro. Imagine going on a date and this guy shows up in a
Also,
white.
A 6'4" man
A
comes out of a
6'4", yeah.
van. Let's
With
go,
a
baby
duct
girl.
tape.
I remember one like months later after I've had the van for like months already, I was sitting at Fresh Slice or like Subway, and it was like raining
Is
outside.
that where you took the girls to?
It was like it was like raining outside. It was 8:00 at night. I was like working overtime at this project
Long, only
that,
six.
that was like failing, and then I like look outside and I see the same car that I used to have, like driving, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing right now? Like I'm painting like full time, like I'm making way less because I didn't know how to quote, right? I'd spend way too much time at projects. I'd overspend on paint materials because you have to buy things. You buy a sprayer, you buy brushes. You don't know how to utilize everything, so you're wasting a lot of money on materials. You don't know how to charge. Like my first big interior job going full time, it's like a 2,300 square foot house, really high ceilings, crown molding everywhere, baseboards, trims, everything, all doors. I charge like $5,000, maybe even $4,500. On materials, I spent like $1,500 because I didn't know like what paint to buy based for the budget. I bought Opulence from Sherwin-Williams, which is like a really expensive paint. I didn't know that I could have negotiated the price down. I spent like $60 a gallon on paint. And then the client didn't believe me that I did 2 coats everywhere. I'm like, listen, you don't see the old color. 2 coats were done. Like you were standing beside me. Like I'm rolling like at 9 p.m. at night because they didn't live there. The client comes and just stares at me while I paint. It's the worst. The worst. Anyways.
Watching it dry.
Literally, yeah. Like it's not going to dry any faster. So yeah, that's how I started my business. And then over the last few years, the first year I was pretty much only hands-on.
You're killing it now.
Yeah,
like the amount of progression that I think ever since like I didn't know you back then, but even the last year is immense.
Yeah. I was on
it's visibly obvious the amount of growth.
I agree and I appreciate that. I remember the first year I was on the tools, and then my business partner at the time left after like 6 months of full time. He was like, I can't do this. Like I kind of want to go back to school. I was like, okay, that's fine. So he left, and then I think I was on the tools again for like a year and a half, 2 years. I think that was my mistake.
Even a couple of my bathrooms, you were painting yourself.
Yeah, it was because I needed the money. Like I didn't have enough projects to where I could just manage. Yeah. But that's also a mistake that I think I made is I was like I would be painting for like let's say 4 hours a day, where in those 4 hours I should have just hired someone, made less money, but
got more projects,
but potentially got more projects. But
I think that's a good topic in itself that I can go off on.
Yeah, like when do you stay on the tools? When do you get off? When do you touch a brush? Like now I don't touch a single brush. I would.
And sometimes you have to. I've noticed you have to force yourself. Like no, I'm just not gonna go.
I haven't had that desire to paint.
Well, I know, but there are opportunities where like you're like, okay, there's that. I could go do that deficiency myself. But I'm gonna tell myself no because I know I have other things that I have to complete
I also just don't
are better for the business.
I also don't have the tools on me anymore.
Sure,
it would just be out of my way. Like there were those 2 pot lights with the marks around them, right? Literally just I had a brush in my car. Literally just a dip and paint. But I was like, I can't. Like I have many other meetings to go to, clients, proposals, like all this stuff. Yeah, and then I went into drywall after.
So now, all that, do you see the next steps? Are they visible to you on how your company's going?
I told you I was kind of having like an identity crisis with my business. I didn't know like over the last like month or so, like in the start of this year, in the start of 2022. I like had, I feel like I knew where I wanted my business to go, right? But it's like I told you, like your first business, it's like your first girlfriend. Like you think you're gonna marry her, but you don't have to. Like things don't work out, plans change, whatever, right? So this is kind of like how I feel. Like your first business doesn't have to be the one that you build up to X million a year. Yeah. To be a success story. Yeah. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. A lot of people that I know that started painting companies like Alex, right? He started it. It kind of like built him up to a certain level of business experience. Still keep that business and like run it on the side or have a GM for it, but then move on to what you want to do, whether that's starting a new business or like development. Like I want to get into development. So like I'm probably going to run my business for a few more years, hire a GM, and then with some kind of capital, start like a real estate investment firm to where it could be developing, it could be buying and flipping, but with just a pool of money and a bunch of others.
You know who to call if you want to flip anything.
All right. Now, to one of my favorite people.
Your favorite.
Yeah.
So, a little backstory. I met Amir. I think he's
In the school hallways, we looked at each other. We locked eyes.
it was
I exactly
chemistry 11.
remember. Yeah.
Chemistry 11.
Mr. Dale.
Yeah, so grade 11 in chem. We
No.
met.
No, not Dale.
Yeah,
Add it.
yeah, Dale.
Dale? What's that? No, that was his name.
That was his
his
first
name. Addis.
Dale Addis.
Yes.
Good chem teacher. He's
Shouts
a nice
out Dale Addis.
guy. Good guy. And
Weird guy.
no, he's a nice guy. Anyways, we met. Was it Halloween? You said?
I think it was Halloween. Yeah.
Oh, it was
It
end of
was
October,
around,
early
yeah,
November.
October, yeah.
He came to my class, and I was like, oh,
Fresh off the boat.
yeah, straight
Yeah.
from Tehran.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the hell is this guy sitting next to me, right? And by the way, I sat in the front row of of high school from grade 8 to the last day of university,
Nerd.
front row. Hey, I always say, if you're not in spitting range for the professor, you're not learning. So Amir sat next to him. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like, of all the other seats, this guy's got to sit next
I
to me.
didn't sit next to you. No, no.
Oh, you were right behind me, beside Braden.
No, I was beside Braden,
Yeah,
like
behind
two.
me. It was me, Beach, Braden behind
Braden,
me.
I remember the first day you guys had a quiz, and I saw. I didn't obviously take the quiz because it was my first day in the class. No, I didn't
No, of
even.
course.
First day in class, I see this guy, Braden. I shouldn't even see his name, bro. I see this guy's quiz sheet. It was all wrong. I was like, should I tell him something? I was like, bro, this guy's getting all the answers wrong. It was like pissing me
Michael's
off.
face right now.
Yeah.
By the way, Michael, our extraordinaire,
Shouts out Michael.
Michael, woo-hoo, was in the same high school with us.
Oh, you were?
Jesus.
Just another Asian kid out there. Bro, I don't.
By the
Honestly,
way,
I don't know. I don't know anyone. from
Amir
there.
didn't know anyone in high
Anyone
school.
from
Like
it. I
the
was
guy
like,
didn't know
new guy,
English,
yeah.
didn't know anyone, right?
Yeah.
Did you just learn English in the last 10 years?
No. I knew a little bit. I could get by a little bit.
Hello.
No, it wasn't that bad. I could get by, but no, it wasn't great. But it's new school.
Of course.
New-
no, it's
New culture.
new
Also,
culture.
he's not going to school for the first time with the other gender in his school too.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
God.
School is all boys
I had
or
a
all
mustache.
girls.
No, I
I don't must say. You had a yeah. Anyways, so yeah, he sits near us. Anyways, we become
yeah,
familiar.
and
with
the
each
end of the
other.
class, I remember. Should we get that?
Nah, let it ring.
End of the class, I remember Mehrdad came by to just say hi. I think you were the only other Persian guy in the class, probably.
Yeah, I was the only person.
He came by to say hi. He said something in Farsi. I had no clue what he was saying. He had the thickest
Farsi wasn't great
accent.
back then.
Yeah, Farsi wasn't great back then.
Well, in the past couple of years, my Farsi actually improved because being in the industry, there's a lot of Persian labor they ask. Right.
Hanging out with me too, and your
you
cousins.
too,
Yeah.
my cousins. But like, you
Yeah.
just obviously want to support, people too. So, anyways, yeah, we became friends. We weren't actually that close though.
Yeah,
in
so
high
we weren't
school.
actually that close. So we met each other in high school, took biology classes together. We were like group mates in biology. I was doing all the work. was, yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, so I went to UBC for sciences. First year went okay. Then I didn't know what I wanted to do. My parents are doctors, and like with brown families, Persian families, especially when they're doctors, they really want you to. They only have like a tunnel vision. They're like, okay, this is the only way to make money. This is the only way that you're gonna have high status, and
The word high status is like a word that my dad would use too. Like if you want to be part of like high society, I remember like in high school, if you want to be a part of society, wear a suit, no tattoos. I don't have any, but he's like, no tattoos, this and this and this. You have to talk like this. You have to eat like this.
Exactly.
You have to do this, this, this. That's the only way you'll be a part of high society. And I'm like, that's bullshit. Like you have nowadays there's obviously new money. People wear whatever they want. They drive whatever they want. They talk however they want. It's more authentic, right? This is more authentic.
It is, but I don't know if it was like that back then or it's still like that. Like this, there are ways that people make money where I'm like, oh shit, like I didn't even know that you could make money this way. I don't know if this existed back then or everything was just, oh, you got to be engineer, doctor. This
That was
and
the
that
only
was
way.
the, was it? That's what I'm questioning, right?
And if you touch tools, if you're anything
low life,
construction,
yeah,
you're a loser.
yeah, loser.
But that's because where our parents grew up. If you didn't have a brain, you started
Some of the
working on the tools.
richest people right now are like people who are my dad's age or older that were in development and
Yeah.
like insane amounts of money.
Yeah.
So I think it existed to some extent back then.
But
Yeah.
not in Iran and not in Russia.
Oh no, Iran too.
Yeah.
100%.
It's not just money. It's also being called a doctor. And that's a huge thing for
That's
you.
a huge thing.
Is
They
that
would
status.
They would still look, I think, at my dad who was a doctor. We were a small town. Was one of the like 3 orthopedic surgeons in my town. They would still look at him at a higher status than someone who was probably richer, but like
It's instilled in you.
Yeah.
Like it's something that eats you alive every single
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And you're gonna laugh, right? But like I remember, and you guys have heard the story when I met my ex's sister for the first time. She's in medicine, studying, want to be a physician, and sat down. I remember she was like, "Oh, what's your name? What do you do? Like you're in construction, right?" And just the way she said it, just burned a
Honestly-
fucking hole in me.
honestly, Mehrdad,
right?
Mehrdad,
And
honestly, it could be because of your upbringing, Persian upbringing, that you thought that
No.
maybe construction has
sure.
a negative
Sure.
connotation.
Yes,
to it.
Yeah,
but also just she comes from a culture too, different culture, but whatever. But like just the way that it was said to me, of course, I think I probably made it
You
much more
added more,
extreme
yeah.
to it. But that put something in me I had just started my business back then, right? That just instilled something in me. I was like, I'm going to work so hard and make so much money that this person as a doctor will never ever reach my level. Like, and I don't know, like looking back on it is great, but like to his point, unfortunately, it's just something that we're not taught from our cultures, that this you do point A, road B, road A, and that's it. There's
Yeah.
no other avenues of career paths.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to my story. So, first year, I went to sciences because I was told all my life, oh, you got to be a doctor. I always, honestly, never ever liked it, to be honest. Like, was never a fan of it. Like, my dad would honestly leave the house at like 7 in the morning, would come back at like 11 p.m. Like it. Well, when I was a kid, like up to like 5, I think was like in his residency. Yeah, sure. Like I didn't even, my grandparents raised me like for the first like 4 years of my life.
For
Yeah.
Amir's personality.
Yeah, and so I never really liked it, and it was just not just like, yeah, it wasn't ever my cup of tea. But like, I went into sciences, still like, oh fuck, I guess I have to do this. I gotta live to my parents' expectations, this and that and that. So, and I was kind of still on the edge. I talked to a family member. He was like, okay, why don't you pick a major that's gives you the flexibility that in case you don't want to go into med school or any like health professions, you have another option too. So I did a combined major in computer science and microbiology, which it was good advice. Yeah, it was good advice. And I was a nerdy kid back then, not like super. I was like in the computer games and stuff. And
Sorry. Also, another point that I want to bring up is all of my family background is all tech. Your family background is Jesus. Your family
My parents are engineers. Oh, both of them are engineers.
engineers
healthcare.
and healthcare. Yeah.
Physicians.
None of our backgrounds are from construction at all, which makes it a little bit more difficult when it comes to starting the business, because you can't be like, oh, my dad knows so and so, maybe he can help me meet this person.
I've not had a single referral from
my dad. I actually have one that I need to follow up on, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So
By the way,
where was
are
that?
we good for time?
I have another 10 minutes.
All right. Wrap up in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
What was I saying?
You
Oh,
were-
computer science.
Computer science.
And computer science was and still is like pretty big. Like it's like tech, right? It's the next big
It's the
thing.
future.
It is the present.
Yeah.
It's the present. I did comp sci. I finished my degree, but man, from the get-go, I did not like comp sci. And my grades took a hit. Like, I was just not passionate for it instantly. And, like, I remember I went to a lot of, like, meetings where they had professionals from the industry talking about, like, their work. And they were all, like, getting employers,
Yeah.
right? They were all, like, working for someone else. I hated that. I was like...
Facebook, Instagram, Tesla.
Yeah, dream was like Silicon Valley. Yeah, that was the dream, and you're still working for someone else, and
They make crazy, like some
they make good money. They make good money, but the lifestyle, man,
Yeah,
it was like, I code security. I go to work 9 to 5. Shuttle comes, gets me. I go to work at like 9 to 5. I'm coding. Oh, we play soccer like
crazy
lunchtime.
how organized
Like,
it is.
yeah,
And like,
like
the company shuttle picks you up. Like you're living in this.
I know,
It's like a
man.
beehive.
It's
You know,
crazy.
Like in a beehive, everyone's working for the.
It is, yeah.
For the.
It's like one of those.
Master Elon.
It's one of those like sci-fi
Zucks.
movies in the future where they're only like wearing white and like eating the same
Yeah.
food, and it was just like it wasn't
and they
appealing
feed
to
them.
me.
They do everything.
And I was coding like in university for my courses, and I just didn't like the coding aspect, and I was like, these guys are coding all day long, and I just didn't like it, and I didn't like the job. I didn't like the work itself. So it wasn't just but I stayed in the degree.
Like you could see the people around you.
Yeah.
And you could see what they look like right now and what they look like 5-10 years from now.
Oh
And
yeah.
you didn't want to resemble that.
Yeah, it wasn't a group of people that I would want it to be. No offense, to be like.
No, that's fair. That's,
It was
that's
not
why I like
associated
it.
with, to
foreshadowing,
hang
like,
out with.
yeah,
To
yeah.
hang out. It wasn't a group of people I wanted to like hang out with. It was just not like super like fun. Well, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't
That's fair.
my
Cup of tea.
for sure. But
Cup of
my
chai.
my mistake was that I did not switch majors. I almost switched it to back to biology, which I wish I did. But because of that, I had to stay in comps. I finished my degree, but my grades took a massive hit, and so I did my degree in 5 years. In the fourth year, like second term, towards the end of fourth year, I had decided on like I talked to some people, and I was like got interested in dentistry, and actually one of the big factors was that I got.
Let's take a moment to smile for the camera.
Yeah, I got Invisaligns.
Nice tea.
Yeah, I got Invisaligns, and I went to my orthodontist, and I really liked it. Like, he was super professional. It was just him, and then he had like 10 people working for him. And
Couple cute girls, dental hygienist.
yeah, no, it was very like I was like
ideology.
I want to be that guy. And honestly, he's 10 out of 10. He's one of the best people I know. Like, he's amazing. And that got me interested into dentistry. And my grades weren't good enough, so I had to do.
So you graduated from?
I graduated from university. My grades weren't good enough. I applied to UBC, just UBC. I didn't get in, obviously, because my GPA was not good. I did okay on the DAT. DAT is like the MCAT, but for dental school. I did that. My grades were, and Mehrdad had done kinesiology, and by that time in my life, I was like super interested into sports and stuff, and I was like, okay, I need to get my GPA up, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do kinesiology, but my grades were so bad that I didn't even like get into kinesiology. I had to take a UBC, and I only wanted to stay in Vancouver, so UBC was the only option. I got into Okanagan, but I just didn't want to go. So I took 1 year as an unclassified student. Fucking slap in the face. Unclassified student.
What's that mean, unclassified?
So you don't have a major. You don't have a faculty.
Oh,
You're just taking courses.
Oh, okay, sure.
Mature students come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to stay active.
Fair.
In academics.
Yeah. So that's what I do. Yeah. So I did that. I took online courses at UBC to boost my GPA up, like grade boosters, pretty much GPA boosters. I took that, did pretty well. I got into kinesiology, did first and second year in 1 year, and then did another term. My grades were freaking amazing, and this is
Your grades were amazing because why? Because you now knew how to study.
I knew how to
But
study.
more important, I think you were finally passionate.
Exactly. I had
and
a
you
path.
had a goal. Exactly.
I had a
path.
path.
That path allowed you to have momentum
Focus.
and focus. Exactly.
Focus.
And when you're just there because you're there, why would you put any effort? Because it's all irrelevant.
exactly.
That's how I felt about
Before,
high school. I felt like I was just there just because I had to be there.
yeah,
Going through the motions.
I had to be there in those hours of the day,
yeah.
and I had to take
Exactly.
those classes. Yeah.
Felt like chore. Like my first degree was exactly like that. It was like, fuck, I have to go to school. I don't know why, but I have to do it. I need that piece of paper that says this is your degree. Oh yeah, fuck. Yeah, it was just bad. My first degree experience was bad, but so I did 1 year kinesiology. I did another term, and then I couldn't take any more courses because I was I had taken all my first and second year courses that I could have taken, and I was still second year by standing at UBC, and UBC kinesiology has this stupid rule. Well, UBC you only can register for courses in July, I think, June or July, and for both terms. So, and I was second year standing then, so I couldn't take any courses for my second term because because I was second year standing for kinesiology, third and fourth year level courses, you have to be third or fourth year level standing. So I couldn't register in those courses. So my second term was open. I couldn't physically take any courses. So, and I was kind of like asking questions about like dentistry and stuff. To a little bit. I was. Yeah, and I had applied to dental school with my just first year of kinesiology stuff. I didn't get in. Just UBC I applied to. I didn't get in, unfortunately. And I was having doubts. I was like, fuck, man, I'm like 26 years old. I'm getting older. And I only wanted to do orthodontics.
10 years of school after.
Yeah, so 4 years of general, 4 years of
Holy
4 years of that. I
shit.
had no interest in general dentistry.
Comes home, his mom's
Where's your wife? Where are the kids?
34, you'd be 34.
34,
Oh,
35,
man.
starting like working for someone else for a couple of years
in debt.
in debt. A lot of that. Dental school itself is
One of the most expensive post grads.
yeah, it's expensive. So, no, 4 years for general. That's like 60 to 80 grand a year, and then 3 years of ortho, same thing. 7 years times 80.
There's no
It's
chance
a lot.
that you're going to get into orthodontics right away.
No guarantees you'll get into orthodontics.
Best case scenario.
Like UBC takes like 2 or 3 orthos per year. It's nuts. And that was my only interest. I was like, man, I'm getting up there in age. And I had this one term off. I started working with Mehrdad just to make some money, honestly.
He called me, he's like, hey, I have a year, can I just come help you out?
Yeah, I've a semester. I have like a couple of months. And I didn't want to go back to like working in a restaurant, to be honest. I was just like
Yeah.
tired of that stuff. I started working with Mehrdad.
I jumped on. I mean, at first I was just throwing him a bone because he's my
Yeah.
best friend. But also I was back then I was working like 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I was dying for some sort of help.
Yeah. Like, honestly, wasn't big into construction because of like my upbringing. Like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of
You see that face? That's exactly the face my ex's sister gave me.
yeah.
Ugh, no.
And yeah, and I was losing interest in a little bit into not interest, interest and drive to go all the way for like ortho. I was losing that a little bit, and I started working with Mehrdad. I actually like, it was hard at first, but like, I started to pick things up, and things went really well.
This is in January, right?
This is in end of December.
Okay.
And what I really liked about it is that
so,
okay,
just
if
for
I-
context, that's like 8 months ago.
8 months ago. Yeah. What I liked about it is like you're it's not just construction, you're growing a business, right? That's the thing. If I was going to go into dentistry, have my own office, I have to literally do the exact same thing. And that was what was appealing to me, just growing a
The
business.
business side of it.
The
yeah.
business side of it. I wasn't interested into staring to people's mouths for like 7 hours a day. I was interested in the business aspect of it, and I
How's your day going? Oh.
yeah, exactly. That, honestly, that's the best part. Clients can't talk to you. That's the best part. um, but yeah, no, I started to like really like it, and me and Mehrdad, I think we work pretty well together.
There's definitely strengths and weaknesses on both ends, and I think we complement each other very, very well.
Mehrdad's very good with sales. Like, he's a killer in salon. Honestly, one of the best salesmen.
That's how he convinces people to do everything.
Everything.
The
Not
only reason I'm going to
convinces.
Europe,
No.
he's a good
Oh,
salesperson.
sure.
Yeah, Vlad, I need you to buy a ticket for going to Europe tomorrow. Okay.
But yeah, so no, we have areas that like we complement each other.
I have no patience for back end stuff. Zero.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero. And Amir, his obviously his kind of tech background or whatever, compliments it because it's just so easy at it for him, right?
By the way, when Mehrdad says tech background,
It means
that
Excel.
doesn't know how to
Excel.
work a spreadsheet.
Hey, you know what? I don't want to learn. I don't need to learn. This guy can do it. My time is more valuable doing other things. So
No,
be it.
but like I think like bringing me on like helped like systemize everything a little bit more.
Of course.
Still not perfect,
mess.
but we're working towards it. It's
just
getting
ask our accountant.
don't everything's more efficient now, and we're trying to get it more efficient, and I told Mehrdad, look, I'm willing to like give up on all of that if you're willing to be like partners down the line. And Mehrdad said 100%. I know he wasn't pretty sure at first. Maybe he's
The thing is,
yeah.
I'd rather have 50% of a big pie than 100% of a small pie.
Yeah.
And more on that, one of the best thing that COVID taught me was that, COVID showed me was that there are more things to life than just work, money, and whatever. There's family, there's friends, there's just enjoying your life, and time is so valuable. So if I can work, let's say only 8-9 hours a day and make less, but have a life, way better than me working 18 hours a day making more money for what? What am I going to do?
That's not even more money. You could make more money this way because
sure, but I'm just saying like the point was that time is more valuable, and also it gets lonely by yourself. Having your best friend working with you life does not get better than that.
And one thing I just remember something like a couple of years ago, like when you started, I think that first project that you had just finished or something. I remember Mehrdad was like just telling me, yo, come work with me. Let's blow this thing up 50-50 from right now. I was in school. I was like, fuck, man, you want me? I was like, shut the fuck up, bro. I'm not going to do this. And then I went to him and I was like, fuck, man, did you like,
That's funny.
Yeah.
I wonder how different life would be if from the start you just like, boom, 50-50.
That, but also there's just so many that have happened.
It would not. I would not have been driven as much because I know
he needed to go through the path that he did.
Everyone does, yeah.
To be able to sleep at night knowing that I tried it and that wasn't for me, and why that wasn't for me.
I could still do it. It's not the best thing for my life right now, but like,
no, you have made a clear, knowledgeable you've made that decision for a reason.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
So we should wrap it up.
Yeah, we should wrap it up.
I have a meeting right now.
We're here now. We're doing a podcast.
This was episode 1.
We're doing business, like kind of business partners.
We
Vlad,
do business. We do business.
That's what like a girl's be saying. She's like, he's my boyfriend. I mean, we're seeing each other.
We're seeing each other, yeah. But yeah, this is what this podcast is gonna be about, pretty much, right?
But so I think
we're gonna have
guests coming on. We have a few really good guests lined up, and are hoping to grow this. And I'm excited.
Well, we're just gonna see where this podcast goes, and hopefully it'll be a learning opportunity for us, grow our own businesses. If it can provide to any help to anyone who like listens to this podcast, it'd be amazing too. Yeah. But it'd be a great learning opportunity for ourselves, honestly. Self-reflect and also learn from our guests as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.